Bernie Sanders is no less progressive than he has always been, but what he is and how he has been since the 2020 election is extraordinarily pragmatic. And if you listen to the way he talks now, he wants to make sure and push those who are elected to do the right thing, to do the progressive thing. However, he understands that progressives to this date have not yet mobilized the large percentage of the people who already believe the policies that progressives believe, the policies that people say they want, health care for all, child care, leave, the minimum wage increase to a living wage, and all these policies that progressives stand for, that most Americans stand for, but they don't realize that to do that, there are specific people that you need to vote for. And as such, Bernie Sanders is very pragmatic. So I want you to listen to what he has to say. He has a lot to say about what needs to be done. Bernie Sanders has a lot to say about what needs to be done to win 2024 in all three areas: President, House, and Senate.
It is no secret that I want Joe Biden to be reelected president. If that is going to happen, if we are going to defeat creeping authoritarianism and right-wing extremism, there has got to be an ideological change of course.
The fact that you felt the need to do this, should we read into the fact that you don't believe there's a second-term agenda yet that Americans can wrap their head around for what a second Biden term would look like?
I think what you can read into that is that Biden has every right to be proud of a long series of accomplishments. You know, 2.5, 3 years ago, this country was in the worst economic downturn since the Great Depression because of COVID. Today, unemployment is all of 3%. We're gaining new jobs, rebuilding manufacturing. We've invested in the infrastructure. We're making progress, and Biden has a right to be proud of that. The point of my remarks is that you cannot simply, as President of the United States, rest on your laurels. What you have got to understand is that today, for structural reasons that have gone on for decades, tens and tens of millions of people are struggling to put food on the table. They can't afford health care. They can't afford prescription drugs. They can't afford housing. Yeah. They can't afford child care. And meanwhile, in the midst of all of that, you have incredible corporate greed, and the billionaire class has never done better. So my message yesterday for the Democrats, not just for the president, is if you want to do well in this election, talk to the needs of the American people, have the guts to take on the big money interests who have so much power.
It sounds like you don't think the phrase "finish the job" is something to rally around.
Yes, you need to recognize that not only have we accomplished a great deal in Biden's first 3 years, and he deserves credit for that, but there are so many long-term problems that this country is facing. Does anybody in America think that our healthcare system is working? Yeah. And yet the insurance companies make tens of billions of dollars, drug companies make tens of billions of dollars. We don't have enough doctors, nurses, mental health providers, pharmacists, dentists. So we need fundamental reform in healthcare. And by the way, the existential issue of our time is whether or not we address climate change. And we have made some steps forward. But there is no question in my mind, if we're going to provide allow our kids and grandchildren to live in a healthy planet, we've got a lot more to do.
Do you think there would be a robust discussion on this on the left if there were a competitive primary? Do you think there should be?
Well, what I think in this particular time, this particular moment in American history, when we're taking on somebody, the former president, who in fact does not believe in democracy, he's an authoritarian, and a very, very dangerous person. I think at this moment, there has got to be a unification of progressive people in general all over this country, people who are prepared to make sure that women control their own body, that we deal with climate change, that we represent the needs of the working class of this country and take on the billionaire class.
One way that you make it clear that age isn't a factor with you is you're pretty energetic. We see you travel the country. You show up you do interviews. It is clearly an issue for many voters when it comes to President Biden. He's a year younger than you. You have advice to him on how he should assuage those concerns in the public about his age?
Look, when people look at a candidate, whether it's Joe Biden or Trump or Bernie Sanders, anybody else, they have to evaluate a whole lot of factors. I met with the president, 5 or 6 weeks ago. We had a great discussion. He seemed fine to me. But I think at the end of the day, what we have got to ask ourselves is, what do people stand for? Do you believe the women have a right to control their own bodies? Well, the president has been strong on that. Do you think that climate change is real? Or do you agree with the Republicans that it's a non-issue? Do you think we should raise the minimum wage? Do you think we should reform and take on the pharmaceutical industry? So age is an issue, Chuck, but there are a lot of broader issues than just that.
I don't think the man could be any clearer than he just said. This is a time of concern, and it is a time not to react, but a time to be proactive with the policies you support and talk directly to the people. Bernie Sanders nails it, and I think we all have a lot of work to do, a lot of work that we must do. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.